Esther was a young woman. She lived long ago in a land far from home. Her story is one of courage. She was an orphan. Her parents were gone. She had no mother or father, but she was not alone. Her Jewish name was Hadassah. It meant myrtle tree, a symbol of peace and joy. But she was known as Esther. This was her Persian name. Esther was very beautiful. Her beauty was known by many. Mordecai was her cousin. He took Esther into his home. He raised her as his own daughter. He loved her very much. He taught her about their faith, their traditions as Jews. They lived in Susa, a life that would soon be tested. King Xerxes ruled Persia. He was a powerful king. His kingdom was vast. One day he held a great feast. He called for Queen Vashti, but Queen Vashti refused to come. The king was very angry. He decided to punish her. The king needed a new queen. His advisors suggested a plan. They would search the entire empire for the most beautiful young women. Esther was among those chosen. She was taken to the palace with many other young women. She had to leave Mordecai. She followed Mordecai's advice. She did not reveal she was a Jew. Esther found favor with Hegai. Hegai was the king's eunuch. He saw something special in Esther. He gave her the best treatment. Her quiet grace impressed many. The Persian Empire was immense. It stretched from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces, all under King Xerxes' rule. His power was absolute, his decrees were law. No one could defy him. His wealth was legendary. The royal palace in Susa was magnificent, a symbol of Persian might. It had courtyards and grand halls decorated with gold and silver, fine linens and purple hangings. The king sat on a throne of splendor. Servants attended to every need. Life in the palace was luxurious, but it was also dangerous, full of hidden plots and rivalries. King Xerxes was known for his feasts. He loved to display his riches and the power of his kingdom. These feasts could last for days, even months, some stories say. Nobles and officials came from afar to pay homage to the king and to enjoy his hospitality. The king's generosity was famous, but so was his temper. Life in the royal court was complex. Approaching the king was perilous. Esther navigated this world carefully. A man named Haman rose to power. King Xerxes promoted him above all other nobles. Haman became the king's chief advisor. He was very proud. He was arrogant and cruel. He expected everyone to bow to him, to show him great honor. His pride knew no bounds. Mordecai, Esther's cousin, worked at the king's gate. He was a faithful servant, but he would not bow to Haman. Mordecai bowed only to God. Haman saw Mordecai's defiance. He was filled with rage. He decided Mordecai must pay. Haman's hatred grew. He wanted to destroy all of Mordecai's people, all the Jews in the Persian Empire. He plotted their annihilation. He spoke to King Xerxes. He lied about the Jews. Fear spread among the Jewish people. Mordecai learned of Haman's evil plot. He tore his clothes in grief. He put on sackcloth and ashes. He cried out loudly in the city. His sorrow was immense. Many Jews joined him in mourning. They knew their lives were in danger. They prayed for deliverance. Mordecai sent a message to Queen Esther. He told her about the decree. He urged her to go to the king, to beg for mercy for her people. This was a dangerous request. Esther knew the law of the palace. No one could approach the king uninvited. The penalty was death unless the king showed favor by holding out his golden scepter. Esther was terrified. She had not been called to the king for 30 days. She feared his displeasure. She sent a message back to Mordecai explaining the great risk. She felt helpless and afraid. Mordecai responded with strong words. "Perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this." His words struck Esther's heart. She could not remain silent. Esther made a courageous decision. She chose to face the danger for the sake of her people. She sent word to Mordecai, "Gather all the Jews in Susa. Fast for me," she requested. "Do not eat or drink for 3 days. My maids and I will do the same." Then she declared her resolve, "I will go to the king against the law. If I perish, I perish." The Jewish community in Susa fasted. They prayed for Esther's safety. They prayed for their own deliverance. The 3 days were filled with tension and fervent supplication to God. Esther prepared herself spiritually. She sought strength beyond her own. On the 3rd day, Esther acted. She put on her finest royal robes. She adorned herself beautifully. She presented herself with dignity and with quiet determination. She went to the inner court of the palace. She stood where the king could see her from his royal throne. The king was seated on his throne. He saw Queen Esther standing in the court. She found favor in his sight. The king extended his golden scepter, the symbol of his mercy. Her life was spared. Esther did not reveal her plea immediately. She knew the gravity of the situation and the importance of timing. She acted with great wisdom and careful strategy, understanding that a hasty move could jeopardize everything. She invited King Xerxes and Haman to a special banquet she had meticulously prepared, ensuring every detail was perfect. The king agreed to come, intrigued by Esther's invitation and the promise of a special event. Haman was delighted by the honor, feeling elevated in the eyes of the court and the kingdom. He felt very important to be invited with the king by the queen herself, basking in the glory of his perceived importance. At the first banquet, the king again asked Esther, "What is your petition?" "It shall be granted." He was eager to know her request. Esther replied with poise, "My petition and my request is this. If I have found favor with the king, let the king and Haman come tomorrow to another banquet I will prepare." She was setting the stage for her true plea. "Then I will tell the king my request." She knew the importance of building anticipation. Her patience was part of her plan, building suspense and anticipation. She wanted the king to be fully attentive and curious. That night, Haman was joyful, but his joy turned sour when he saw Mordecai at the gate. His hatred for Mordecai overshadowed his happiness. Mordecai still refused to bow. Haman's anger flared again, his pride wounded by Mordecai's defiance. His wife and friends advised him, build a gallows 75 feet high. They encouraged him to take drastic action. Ask the king in the morning to hang Mordecai on it. They believed this would solve his problem and restore his honor. At the second banquet, the time came. Esther knew this was her moment. The king asked Esther for her request. He was eager to fulfill her wish. Esther spoke with courage and emotion. "If I have found favor in your sight, O king, and if it pleases the king, grant me my life. This is my petition." She revealed the true depth of her plea, risking everything. Haman was filled with terror. His heart pounded as he realized the gravity of his situation. He stood accused before the king and before the queen he had wronged. The royal court was tense, eyes fixed on him. His wicked plot was exposed. The truth of his treachery laid bare for all to see. The king rose in a rage. His fury was palpable, shaking the very foundations of the palace. He went out into the palace gardens, seeking a moment to collect his thoughts amidst the lush greenery. Haman knew he was doomed. The realization of his impending fate weighed heavily on him. He begged Queen Esther for his life, his voice trembling with desperation. He fell on the couch where she reclined, desperate and pathetic. His pleas echoed through the chamber. When the king returned, he saw Haman on the couch with the queen. The sight fueled his anger further. The king's anger grew even greater. His eyes blazed with fury. "Will he even molest the queen in my presence, in my own house?" The king's voice thundered through the hall. As the words left the king's mouth, servants covered Haman's face, a sign of his condemnation. His fate was sealed. Then Harbona, one of the eunuchs, spoke. "Look, the gallows Haman made for Mordecai stands at Haman's house." The irony was bitter. Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, was now vindicated. The king gave a swift command, "Hang him on it." His voice was resolute and final. So Haman was hanged on the very gallows he had prepared for Mordecai. His end was as dramatic as his rise. His evil plan backfired completely. The justice was poetic. Justice was swift and decisive. The king's anger subsided, and a sense of relief washed over him. The immediate threat was removed. The court began to breathe easier, but the decree against the Jews still stood. The danger was not entirely over. King Xerxes gave Haman's estate to Queen Esther. It was a gesture of restitution. She then pleaded with the king again to revoke Haman's evil decree. Her determination was unwavering. The new decree was sent out across the entire Persian Empire, reaching every corner of the vast kingdom. It gave the Jews the right to assemble and protect their lives, to destroy their enemies on the day Haman had chosen for their doom. This decree brought a glimmer of hope to a community that had been living in fear. The Jews prepared for this day with courage and determination, knowing that their survival depended on their unity and strength. Fear of the Jews fell on many people, for Mordecai's influence was growing. His rise to power was a beacon of hope and a sign of divine intervention. On the appointed day, the Jews fought with valor and resilience. They defended themselves successfully against those who sought to harm them, turning the tide of their fate. There was great victory for the Jews. Their enemies were defeated, and the threat that loomed over them was vanquished. Instead of sorrow and death, there was joy and celebration. The community came together in a spirit of unity and gratitude. The tables had completely turned thanks to Esther's bravery and God's providence. Mordecai recorded these events meticulously to ensure they would never be forgotten. He and Esther established a new festival to commemorate their deliverance. It was called Purim, named after the pur, or lot, that Haman had cast to choose the day for the destruction of the Jews. This name would forever remind them of the reversal of their fate. Purim would be a time of feasting and joy, and sending gifts to remember their miraculous deliverance from the hands of their enemies. It became a symbol of hope and resilience. Esther's story is a testament to courage, faith, and strategic action. Her wisdom and bravery changed the course of history. An orphan girl became a queen, rising from obscurity to a position of great influence. She risked her life for her people, showing immense bravery and selflessness. She used her position wisely, making strategic decisions that would ensure the safety and future of her people. Her legacy continues to inspire generations. The story of Esther is a powerful reminder of the impact one individual can have. The festival of Purim is celebrated still, a joyful reminder of God's salvation and the power of one brave individual to make an extraordinary difference. It is a time of joy, reflection, and gratitude for the miracles of the past.